y'all, we're back. We got fresh shaved Coco back to the videos, and in today's video we're going to be talking about the Sacramento Kings as it is their turn for the 3 for 30 series to talk about them and their off season. Now, although the Kings finished with a 31-41 record and came pretty close to making the playoffs in the stacked Western Conference, I'm still not hesitant at all to say that the Kings are not in a favorable spot with their current roster construction. They have a lot of big contracts who aren't really producing for the team or just up to the level of what their contract entails, and just for the most part, it's still kind of a mess out in Sacramento. Perhaps the biggest reason for this mess that's currently with the Kings organization is the number one point on my board, Buddy Hield. Although Buddy Hield has established himself as a top shooter in the league, he does that on a high volume of threes and he makes a high volume of them as well. There have been some personal issues that he has expressed publicly with the Sacramento Kings. He's been very vocal about his contract and how he feels throughout his entire time in Sacramento. And if we can all remember, this pretty much started prior to Buddy Hield getting his second contract with the Sacramento Kings. If you can recall, there was a certain practice where GM at the time, Vlade Divac, was present at the practice, and Buddy Hield was apparently torching his teammates and calling out to Vlade, asking for the new contract, asking for the bag that he felt he deserved. And while at the time it definitely seemed like Buddy Hield was on his way to be a productive player and earn that paycheck, it's kind of all been downhill from that point. Although he averaged nearly 20 points per game this past season on some good shooting splits, to be honest, there is definitely a roller coaster of events that has led to a penultimate moment where Buddy Hield seems to be out of contact with the team, according to recent reports. Now, if we look back, in December, Hield was quoted as saying that the Kings organization in general has trust issues. This came after him being benched late in a game in December. Even though he was playing decently well, there was the coaching staff questioned his effort on the court, specifically his defensive effort, and also to the fact that it seemed like he was chalking up shots. So it seemed like it was pretty reasonable on both sides, and it's not like he was benched without reason. There was some hard evidence behind that. Then in January, this progressed even further to the point that Buddy Hield was taken out of the starting lineup in place of Bogdan Bogdanovic, who we will be getting into later. But again, this was seen as a sign of disrespect to Buddy Hield. He had just earned this big contract, and now the Kings were just full on taking him out of the starting lineup in place of someone who Buddy Hield felt he was better than, even though they were producing somewhat similar numbers, give or take their different aspects that they bring to the game. But either way, it worked out for the Kings because they did go on not quite a winning streak, but they did seem to be playing better basketball after removing Buddy Hield from the starting lineup. And then come February, that's when the trade rumors really started to heat up for Buddy Hield. At this point, he made it very clear that he was unhappy in Sacramento. And then if we fast forward even further to the restart of the NBA in the bubble, Buddy Hield just simply was not present at some games. It seemed like he had almost a 5 point per game decrease in scoring over the 6 or so games that he did play in the bubble. So there's a noticeable lack in production from Buddy Hield in the bubble. Maybe just because of the circumstances, he knew that they weren't going to be a playoff team, so maybe he just did not come prepared. Who knows, but what we do know as of now is that Buddy Hield is actively being shopped. He's not responding to Luke Walton's texts or phone calls, and at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if he were to be traded, and I also wouldn't be surprised if he stays with the team, because that's just the type of organization that the Sacramento Kings are. It will definitely be a situation to monitor, though, as the offseason progresses. Moving on to the next point, we're going to be talking about Darren Fox and his upcoming potential extension with the Sacramento Kings. So this upcoming season is the last on Darren Fox's rookie deal, and all signs are pointing to him getting the full max extension from the Sacramento Kings. At this point, it's just a matter of the Kings organization potentially maybe trying to lowball him, seeing as we aren't quite sure how the salary cap will be working out with the loss of revenue due to the pandemic. But if the Kings have any ounce of smarts in their organization, they'll know to just give him the full max deal, 25% of the salary cap. I'm not really quite sure what the numbers are specifically, but from what I've seen, that's what it is for the rookie max extension. But either way, Fox should be getting his payday. He's quietly been one of the better young stars in the league, and it's a shame that he's stuck in a bad place like Sacramento that doesn't get much marketing, because he truly is a great player. I mean, just looking at his numbers this season, he averaged 21 points per game, 7 assists per game, and 1.5 steals per game. And the only really noticeable weakness in his game is still his three-point shooting. His three-point shooting percentage dipped even farther from his past seasons, where it was decent at around mid-30s. But this past season, he shot 29% from three. So obviously, something he needs to work on. But while we're still on the topic of Darren Fox, I just wanted to bring up a funny memory of back when he's being drafted, the big argument was, do you take him or Lonzo Ball? And the consensus at the time seemed to be Lonzo Ball. I just thought it was funny to go back and see that, because I think now the consensus would easily have switched over to Darren Fox. Not to say Lonzo Ball is a bad player, but I'll take the 20 point per game scorer over the assist man any day. So again, the Fox situation will be one to monitor as we head into this offseason and get deeper into it, but expect the Kings to open up the checkbook and give him everything that he needs to feel like he has enough to stay in Sacramento. And lastly, I want to talk about Bogdan Bogdanovic, as he is an unrestricted free agent. Actually, is he an unrestricted free agent? And then leading into the last point on the board, we're going to talk about Bogdan Bogdanovic, the currently restricted free agent for the Sacramento Kings. He bursted onto the scene a few years back when he won the MVP award in the Team USA versus Team World Rising Stars Challenge at the All-Star Weekend. And from that point on, he has proven himself to be a tremendous scorer off the bench, and eventually just a tremendous scorer in the starting lineup after he took Buddy Hield's starting spot. But either way, Bogdan Bogdanovic has proven to be a great scorer in the league. There's going to be a lot of teams that are going to look for his type of skill set, either off the bench or in the starting lineup. I know teams like the Bucks have already had some rumors attached to him, and there's just a lot of contending teams or teams on the brink of contention who would love to have someone like him on their team. But because he is a restricted free agent, the Sacramento Kings will have the chance to match any offer that is sent his way this offseason. The Kings will probably have to make this choice while also planning for their future, as their past decisions with their money and spending and salary cap have not exactly been great, to say the least. They have recently dropped big bags on Harrison Barnes and Buddy Hield. I already talked about Buddy Hield and the fact that he might be on the way out soon, so that could potentially clear them of his money for these upcoming years. But they still have Harrison Barnes on contract for the next couple of years for an average of about $20 million a year. Now, in the case that they can't get rid of Buddy Hield, he will also be making around $20 million a year for the next couple of years, and those two players right there are eating up about a third of their potential spending money. Now we have the Darren Fox extension, what's going to probably be north of 20 million, around probably like 25 million. And then you also have Marvin Bagley, who's going to be due for his extension next year if they're willing to pay it, or we don't know what's going to happen. Maybe Bagley has another subpar season and they just look to simply move on from him and feel fine letting him go. But as of now, he seems to be another building block that can play with Darren Fox. So it wouldn't surprise me if the Kings want to pay him as well. And basically what I'm trying to get to is that they have two guys already on big contracts. They have two guys who are going to be on to big contracts in the coming years. So does that even leave any money for a potential Bogdan Bogdanovic signing? The clear answer to me is for the Kings to simply get rid of Buddy Hield, trade him away, whatever they have to do to get his money off the books, and in turn allow them to spend that money on Bogdan Bogdanovic instead. And although this might be difficult, or Buddy Hield might not exactly get the returning pieces that you might want or that he should get as a player, he's definitely hurt his trade value by simply stating that he wants out of Sacramento and has shown that he is very unhappy there. So teams are going to lowball the Kings rather than give them what he is actually worth. But Luke Walton and the rest of the organization have already made it clear that they see Bogdanovic as the starter over Buddy Hield, and they proved that this past season, as I already went over. Buddy Hield lost a starting job. So in my opinion, it makes too much sense for the Kings to get rid of Hield, dump his contract somewhere, maybe get a young piece or two back, or even just a pick or two back, give Bogdan Bogdanovic the money, re-sign him for the next couple of years, and now you're just looking at a dead deal in Harrison Barnes, but I mean, he's still a quality role player for the team. You pay Fox this offseason, you pay Bagley next offseason if he continues to produce and get better, and now you're looking at a core of Fox, Bagley, Bogdanovic, and then Barnes is just kind of thrown in there as well, although they should probably look elsewhere for talent that can replace Barnes at some point. And that's about it for the Kings offseason preview for this 3 for 30 episode. I very much doubt that the Kings will actually do this, as this would be too competent for their organization, but who knows. They did just get rid of Vlade Divac as their GM, and they currently have Isaiah Thomas in that role, as they're also looking for a new GM to take over, so that's just a whole mystery in itself. As I said at the start of this video, I don't think anyone's really envying the position that the Kings are in, but at least they do have some pieces that they could build on for the future. Now, as always, drop some comments down below on what you think I got right, what you think I got wrong. Other than that, like the video, subscribe if you're new and watching this and you enjoyed it, and as always, the most important thing, thank you for watching.